Hey, it's Wednesday Wealth Wisdom. One of my favorite days.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I wanted to let our listeners know. So, apparently, we're having a lot of cyber issues, and last Wednesday, our live did not stream over to LinkedIn.
Mm,
Yay!
yay.
So we are going to get that one out there. I promise. Hopefully, it's all been fixed. So you'll probably see, if not this week, next week, two from us over in LinkedIn. But we use StreamYard so we can go to all the socials that we possibly can. So I apologize, even though it was completely out of my control, but I want to let everyone know we didn't miss it. It's just StreamYard didn't allow us over in LinkedIn, or LinkedIn didn't allow StreamYard last week. So I wanted to cover that first. So we got you, and it was a good one. I got to get it out there.
Yep.
So we always talk right before we do these lives, and I was reading an article. What I had told Amanda was I was reading this article about how homeowners insurance is increasing. And I'll be dog if I didn't get my homeowner's policy. I was expecting it, but I got it in the mail, opened it, and fell out of my chair. And so the first thing I did, of course, is call my insurance agent and go, I'm sorry, what the hell's going on?
Yep.
Are you hearing any rumblings regarding home, auto, any type of replacement type coverage out there in the world? Or is this just Texas?
Yeah, no, it's actually all over the place. I've been seeing articles and mentions about how insurance across the country has gone up, but different states it's going up at different percentages. So, yeah.
Yeah. So as we were talking, of course, the first brilliant question you asked me is, are we going through an agent or are we going through a broker? So I'm going to let you explain the difference between the two.
Yes. So insurance companies have their own agents that you can work with. So if you're with Liberty Mutual or Geico, you usually have an agent that they assign you that you would work with to check your policy, to renew it, to do all of those things. If you're working directly with an insurance company, you don't get the option of getting that insurance shopped because they only work for one carrier. But if you go to an insurance broker, they work with a lot of different carriers. So they can work with Liberty Mutual and Geico and Progressive and all these other ones and be able to go around, use your information and the coverage that you have to actually shop the best, you know, insurance out there. And it can be the same coverage or even better coverage. And and there's a way to have a lot of cost savings from that. So I was telling Jen that a lot of my clients come to me and I ask them, have you shopped your car or home insurance in the last year or two?
Mhm.
They say they haven't, I immediately want to put them in touch with one of my brokers because I want to make sure they're not paying more in insurance than they absolutely need to. And
Yes.
a lot of the time, the brokers can find them a better situation somewhere else and save them almost. I mean, I had a client who ended up saving $100 a month on their car insurance just because they got it shopped and found another place. So that's
Wow.
why
Quick
brokers,
math. That's $1,200 a year.
yeah,
I mean that's substantial. I mean,
yes,
that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. So I do the exact same. So when my clients come on board, we go through almost a 30-day in-depth, let's find money leaks. And
Mhm.
insurance is definitely a money leak because we go sign up for it and we dread it. I mean, we all dread it.
Yeah.
Insurance is insurance is there to protect us. It costs money. we need it. It's important. It's an adult expense. I mean, let's just cut. It's an adult expense, right?
Yeah.
And so what I tell my clients is, about 3 months before your policy renews. So we figure out when that is, go out and shop. And that's the key. When you go through a broker, they're trying to find you the best deal for the same amount of coverage.
Yep.
It's very important. You want to make sure you understand what your coverage is. So when you get these new quotes, you're definitely got apples to apples.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've never run into a problem where a broker tried to, skirt something under on me that was
Right.
different. But you need to understand what you're being covered on. So if you have an agent that needs to be your first stop
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, what's going on? What are my options? I don't understand what this charge is. I don't understand what this charge is. And then also get a broker working for you as well. That would be my recommendation.
Yes. And the other important thing too is understand what your coverages are. Ask
Yeah.
the broker, ask the agent. If you don't understand what comprehensive is, or if you don't understand what the uninsured motorist coverage is, or whatever else is on either your home or your car insurance,
Mhm.
it's important to know what those are, to know what those dollar amounts are,
Mhm.
because it could end up being something where, like, yes, you're responsible for your deductible if something happens, but then if your coverage is not enough for what is
Yeah.
needed, you also will have to pay whatever additional coverage or money is due for something like that. So making
Yeah.
sure that you're absolutely covered and protected, and not just state minimums either. Like, every state
Yeah.
has the minimum numbers that you have to hit, but talk to your insurance person, and if they really think that you need to have more coverage because they've seen it firsthand from a bunch of other clients, then it's something that you should understand and be able to
Mhm.
them on.
Yeah. So you need to do an insurance like annual checkup
Mm-hmm.
and for both home and car for sure. For sure.
Yes.
Because it's one of those things. You don't sit there and go this until you need it. And that's not the time you want to be doing that.
Yes.
So so I'm going to walk you through my process. I open my bill, I fall out of my chair, and I go to my husband and say, yeah, no.
Yeah.
We got to figure something out. So one of the things here is replacement cost. So we are insuring our home not on the value of what it cost us to purchase or build the home. It's
Mm-hmm.
if I had a total loss, what would it cost me today to
Right.
rebuild?
Yep.
And because of whatever we want to blame it on going on, all of the supply costs are higher,
Mm-hmm.
and those higher costs are now getting, so if my house completely burned down, the insurance company needs to make sure that I'm paying a policy that will get my house 100% rebuilt under
Mm-hmm.
the current dollar amounts. So
Right.
that is why I saw such an increase. And then I learned from you, I'm in Texas, a lot of insurance company have left.
Yes.
So there's not as much competition.
Correct. Yeah. So that's why it's important to understand what your own state situation is, because while I'm located in Colorado, I work with a lot of clients in Texas, in Florida, in California, and I ask them the same questions. But the issue is, in some of those states, a lot of the insurance companies have left for whatever reason. And now there are fewer insurance companies, and insurance brokers can't necessarily shop the same way they can in some states as they can here in Colorado. So that's why it's important to talk to a broker, because they can tell you straight up, like, if they're looking at your policy and seeing how much you're paying, and then they're looking and seeing what else is out there, they may very well tell you that you are paying the best deal, that it is not any better out there. But, if for some reason you are in a state that has a lot more insurance companies available and a lot more competition, then the chances of you being able to find some savings there is a little bit higher.
Yeah. So we're already using a broker, so yay in that
Yeah,
aspect. And so that wasn't an option for us going to another broker. I mean, we could, but they're probably going to tell us the same thing. And
sure.
it's like, how do we lower this crazy bill?
Mhm.
And there are some options that they gave us in order to lower the bill. And one of those is putting in an alarm system. And I live out when I tell you I live out in the middle of nowhere, I've got to give you directions to get to my house. Nobody accidentally just shows up here. But if they want us to put in an alarm system to save some money, there's a lot of do-it-yourself alarm systems.
Mhm.
My are so different than most. But,
Right.
so the key here is, in addition to shopping, what other things can I do to lower my insurance? My 16-year-old daughter, when we added her onto the policy, students with a certain GPA got a discount.
Mhm.
I was like, huh,
Yeah.
well, what do you need? Her report card? Okay, I'm sending it over. And we got a substantial discount on that. So,
Yeah. So when I had a similar situation, but with my car. Um, I had a car insurance through a particular carrier that I found through my broker, and then I got the bill saying we are going to renew your insurance in a month, and it's gone up $700 a year. And I was like, "What?" Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. I didn't
okay,
get
what are you driving? No,
Right,
no, I'm kidding.
exactly.
Right?
I've been out, like, drifting across the interstate and finally got caught, but
Yeah, right,
but I'm
right.
thinking to myself, like, I haven't gotten into an accident, I haven't gotten a ticket, it isn't anything I did, but how is it possible that it would get so high? So I called
Right.
the insurance company and I was like, "Hey, what's the deal? Like, why is it going up so much?" And they said, "Oh, we're having to file a lot of claims in your zip code, so that's why we've raised our prices." And I'm thinking to myself, so you're basically telling me the people that live around me drive like crap and we have to pay for it, which essentially is what insurance is. We're paying for
Right.
ourselves and other people. So I
Yes.
immediately go to my broker and I say, "Hey, here's my situation. Can we find a better fit?" And thankfully, she was able to say, "Yes, this
Mhm.
car insurance over here is going to be much closer to what you were paying before, maybe up by
Yeah.
um, $100 for the year or something, but certainly not
Mhm.
700." And I was like, "Brilliant, let's do it." So like
Yeah.
the fact that you can just work with someone and save yourself $600 or save yourself $1,200, like it's crazy. And that's what they're there for.
Yeah. That's a great hourly rate. I mean, if you
I
put it
know,
in that
right?
perspective, I'm all about the mindset. I had a client one time tell me, I've been putting off calling my insurance company. And she literally went out and picked up dog poop in the backyard instead of calling the insurance company. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's because of the story she had built up. I'm going to have to
Sure.
sit on the phone. I'm going to have to, nobody likes it. And I'm like, well, that's nonsense. We're getting off the phone and getting on and it literally took her 45 seconds to a minute to get whatever she needed done handled once she got through. And I'm like, there's a lot of drama going on up there about calling insurance. So
Yeah.
check yourself if
Yep.
you're opting to go out and do the dog cleanup duty versus calling insurance. It's probably time to check what you're thinking about your insurance company.
Yeah. And if you're afraid of making those phone calls, that's another benefit of having a broker is that they can do a lot of that work for you. They're
The
working
legwork.
for
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
And if you can get a hold of a broker, they are an individual that owns a business, so you get a hold of them in no time. have them call the insurance company and sit on hold and find out why your insurance went up $700. Like that is exactly what
You did.
their job is. So it's having people that can do work for you and advocate for you, but also save you money.
Mhm.
We love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the first things that I typically do with my clients, and I'm assuming you're going to do this as well, is the best way to lower your insurance is to increase that deductible. That is the best, hands down, best way. And it's scary to think $1,000 deductible or a $1,500 deductible. But if you can get to that in a year, let's say, or a year and a half, and you're earning interest on that money and it is set aside, just sitting there growing and growing and growing, not only are you saving on your insurance premium, but you're also earning interest.
Yep.
Which is what the wealthy have figured out, that
Yep.
they don't just go and work hard, they also use their dollars to make money for them.
Yes, and it is very scary for people to raise deductibles because then they start seeing those dollar signs and thinking to themselves, if something happens to my car, I have to come up with $1,500 or $2,000. And that's why educating them around emergency funds is so important. I always tell someone the bare minimum of an emergency fund for you needs to cover all your deductibles. And I'm not
Yes.
just talking car. You also have medical deductibles for any of your health insurance. You have home insurance or renter's insurance deductibles. So knowing what all of those are and knowing what they add up to, that's how much you need bare minimum in your emergency fund at all times in case something happens. So you have that money liquid and available to you to pay that deductible and to get things moving. So if they do need to raise their deductible to save on insurance, they need to also raise that emergency fund to meet that deductible and make sure they have the money saved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's two other things I wanted to point out. So in this article I read, and I don't remember the article, I am, it is not research I did pluck it from another article. These are the three states, and I don't want to freak anybody out, but I also don't want you to fall out of your chair like I did. Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Kansas are showing their insurance premiums jump as much as 24%.
That is a lot.
It is. So definitely shop, figure out what's going on, understand your policy. But when you said the zip code issue that you're having with your car insurance, the article also mentioned don't move just to save on insurance. And I was like, do people really do that? I mean, do people really move just to save? So have you experienced that before?
I've definitely heard that before, and I have experienced it even just in Colorado. If you live, say, in Denver County proper or in Denver City proper, your insurance will be more expensive because
Mhm.
there are more people there. Therefore, there are usually more claims. So anywhere that is very crowded or metropolitan or a city center or whatever else is going to traditionally have higher insurance rates.
Okay.
The
Mhm.
further away you move from those high traffic areas, usually the more inexpensive the insurance is. Um,
Gotcha.
I haven't heard of anyone moving simply for the insurance because I think if you add up the moving cost, I don't know
Well,
if
that's
it
what I was,
necessarily
because
adds
when
up.
I first read that, I'm like, okay, so you're starting over in your home. I mean, I was like, really? So,
Yeah, so like after the whole cost of moving situation, like maybe it doesn't equal out, but it could be something that helps you over time. So if someone
sure.
moves to a suburb versus living in a city center, over time the savings from that insurance will add up. But definitely don't recommend people move just for that particular reason.
But I think that's good information to know when you are looking to move,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
Yes.
I moved from we lived in Houston, and I moved from Houston to a mud district, not realizing how expensive water was in a mud
Mm,
district.
yeah,
Because it was like, well, we've always paid X amount for, and then you get your water bill and you're like, holy cow, what are we
right.
doing?
Yeah.
Is the water golden here or what? So I think the advice should be more along the lines of, when you're moving to an area, make sure you understand the insurance cost difference, the water
Yeah.
cost difference, all the costs are recurring costs that might go up.
And that's something an insurance broker can help you with as well. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're trying to buy a house, for instance, and you're
Mhm.
not sure where you want to buy, you can ask an insurance broker, hey, where in my state or in your area are there lower insurance rates for
Yeah.
car, for home, for whatever else? And then that
Mhm.
could help you kind of like make your searchable area smaller on where you want to buy and could give you some savings there.
Yeah, and stretch your dollar.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
Right? Well, I think we've hammered insurance enough today. What do you think?
I think so. Hopefully, our listeners will um, go and take some action items back with them if they aren't
Yeah.
already working with a broker. Finding one that can help them, doing some shopping if they haven't in the last year or two, and then the most important thing is whatever money you're saving, make sure to give that like amount of purpose. So if you're saving $50 a month, make sure you take that $50 a month and put that, in your emergency savings, put it towards your debt, wherever. Don't absorb it into your budget because you're saving money for a reason and you should use that money to, reach your goals.
Yeah. And again, if any of you need any help with that, either any of these topics that we've discussed, we are here to help and serve you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, exactly.
Well, okay. We made it to Wednesday. It's hump day. We're almost there. So I guess until next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good rest of your week.
You too. Bye.